As you can see, the price of silver went parabolic over the last couple of weeks. The silver price went well over $100 per ounce. Also, the silver miners had a nice rally. Nonetheless, silver miners are still relatively cheap in comparison to the current silver price, and therefore there are still some 10x plays out there which will have good entry prices in the coming weeks, in the coming months, where you can still make a lot of profits in the coming years. Therefore, in today's video, I'm going to present you my 4 currently most favorite silver mining companies, which have a nice chance of making up to 10x in the coming years if you invest in the next couple of days, in the next couple of weeks and months. Before we start with the video, as always, I would really appreciate it if you leave a follow for our small and growing channel if this video is helpful and insightful for your own investment decisions. So before we go on with the first mining company I'm going to talk about, I'm going to present to you, we should quickly take a look on the silver chart and afterwards on the silver chart in comparison to the mining stocks, to the general mining stock performance, just to get a clear overview before we jump into the stock charts itself. In this case, we can understand the overall structure of the current precious metals, of the current metals mining market, and therefore it's easier for us to build a thesis on why mining company XYZ still has a lot of more upside potential. Let's go right in. It's been a few weeks since I made a silver price analysis. We were around here, I think. We broke out, had another diagonal trend line to the downside, which was resistance. We broke above it, retested it kinda, and then we went parabolic. We didn't even care about this extended Fibonacci level, this red one, 2.618 at $102. We just went higher. We are currently sitting at $115 roundabout per silver ounce on the COMEX exchange in the USA. So we still have this important bullish momentum trend line. As long as it holds, I don't see us having a bigger correction below $90 at current prices. Even if we correct down to the trend line support from current prices, this would give us round about a 20% correction. And this is normal. This can actually happen in the next coming weeks because I showed it to you before. The price is just going parabolic. We need some correction, maybe sideways before we go higher, or even downside before we go higher. Nonetheless, in my opinion, I don't think that this is the top for silver. The next near-term price target would actually be, based on my Fibonacci extension levels, $141 per silver ounce, which can actually happen this week, maybe next week, in the next month of February, because alone today we went up over $13.5, which is around about 13.3%. This is insane. In this case, from current prices, we would just need another 22% pump to reach my next Fibonacci extension resistance target in this case. And as I already said, if we see a correction in the next couple of months, in the next couple of weeks, in my opinion, this ain't the time to be in panic. It's the time to reaccumulate on some of your most favorite mining stocks. Hence mining stocks, I would say we now quickly flip to the silver price chart in comparison to the overall silver mining stocks price chart. Afterwards, we go to my 4 mining companies. All right, so here we go. Here we see the direct comparison between the silver miners to the silver price. Okay, the silver miners performance in relation to the silver price performance. And as we can see, the silver miners are getting outperformed by the silver price, which means the silver price is pumping way stronger than the silver miners itself. Since October, silver outperformed the mining stocks by 34%, which is insane. It's a big swing. So if you would have bought silver in October instead of the SIL mining ETF, for example, you would have outperformed the SIL mining ETF by 34%. The mining stock outperformance is yet to be seen. And you can see it as I draw it in my chart with this blue squiggle. I expect that we will see a bottom right now in the next coming weeks. We will see a bottom. Maybe it's even a V-shaped reversal. and then we go higher, break out of this bullish falling wedge. Normally it's a continuation pattern of a bull trend, okay, something like this before it goes higher. In this case, it's a bullish pattern within a range. I still think that it will play out. And when this happens, either it happens 2027, 2028, whatever, silver miners will have an immense rally in comparison to the silver price itself. Will it stop at the mid-level? Maybe. If it goes higher and it reclaims, it will go up to all-time highs. All-time high silver miner outperformance in relation to the silver price, which will be an explosive run for the silver miners. So with that said, with the silver price chart analysis and with the technical analysis of the silver miners priced in silver, as you can see it on the chart, there is, in conclusion, there is a lot more way to go to the upside for the silver miners instead of to the downside over the next couple of years. Therefore, let's check out my currently 4 most favorite silver miners with the potential of up to 10x or even more in the next couple of years in order of this pattern to play out. And the first mining stock is Guanajuato Silver. I already talked about this miner when it was down here. This is currently the chart on the TSXV in Canada, the Canadian exchange, not the OTC USA chart. Nonetheless, it was around here, and since then, at least I made almost 200% up to the current price. I showed you my position in the last video. Check it out right here if you want to, on the top right corner. And I think that this still has a lot more way to go higher. With silver going up to $140 per ounce, probably in the coming weeks, I expect Guanajuato Silver to also keep going higher up to this important swing high, which will bring us to a Fibonacci extension target at 2.618 and a price target of 1.86 Canadian dollars. And here again, as you can see, chart analysis, technical analysis is not random. It's no coincidence that this high lines up honestly 99 or actually 100% perfectly with my Fibonacci extension level. All right, guys. Therefore, in order to master the charts, you need to master chart analysis. You need to master support resistance and so on. Anyways, back to the actual price, back to the actual topic of the video. I think from current prices, this can be another push higher to around 72%, of around 70%. I will most likely take some profits if we see this, because of course this can go even higher, but I think that after we've seen such a big swing play, such a big rally in the price of silver itself, the commodity itself, in gold, and in the mining sector overall, after we had such a lot of financing, I expect prices to either consolidate sideways or actually have a sharp correction, which will, in my opinion, get bought up really fast again. Therefore, if you want to invest in Guanajuato Silver right now, I would be cautious. Nonetheless, that's why I'm saying that we are going to talk about my 10x miners from current prices even. I think that this stock still has the potential to make a 10x from current prices. Obviously, if we go lower from current prices, for example, if silver starts correcting right now in the coming weeks, won't reach $140, but goes down or sideways a little bit, I think that there will happen a little bit of profit taking. Therefore, we could be seeing another retest of this range high, this previous range high, at around 0.73 Canadian dollars. And maybe, or even better, this would be the perfect re-entry for me as well, a retest of this upwards trending diagonal support line. I will buy if we hit this or if we hit the range high. Okay guys, let's go on the weekly. I bought down here because we hit the mid level of the range in confluence with the diagonal support. And now I'm looking to buy again at a range high or at a retest of this diagonal support. If it happens here, if it happens here, or if it happens here, I don't really care. I will most likely re-enter or buy even more of my current position. If we go higher, I will probably sell a little bit because I think that we will see downside. But nonetheless, the correction, as I already said, will be bought up really fast again. In order to make a 10x from current prices, we would need to hit a price of around about $10.80, Canadian dollars and 80 cents, which is really possible. This would be the previous support which we had in the bull run of 2008, until 2009, 2010. Alright, it's right here. So this would actually be possible. Maybe we will stop even down here at $8.50 roundabout, but even up here you would have been making 700%, which is a 10x, which is an 8x, sorry. From the range high as a strong support, this would be 11x, this would be 1000%, okay? And why do I think that we will see a big support at the range high? Because it was resistance several times, okay? 1, 2, 3 times already. We broke above and we didn't actually have a retest right here on the weekly chart. We just pushed higher, okay? We just pushed higher. Therefore, I think a lot of smart money investors will enter down here, especially institutions and general investors who aren't invested in silver companies and mining companies in general yet. The big money is still yet to come. Therefore, that's one of the reasons I think that the silver miners still have a lot more upside potential. Therefore, buying down here wouldn't be a bad idea in my opinion, but no financial advice. Do your own research on this project. Quickly, why I think fundamentally Guanajuato Silver is a nice pick. They have a lot of production. They are junior miner, already mining, generating cash flow at such high silver prices, all-time high silver prices, record prices. So they will make record profits, record revenue as well, obviously. And they just bought the Bolonitas mining project, the Bolonitas mining facility from Endeavor Silver for around $50 million. I don't remember correctly if it was United States dollars or if it was Canadian dollars. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter because it's such a cheap purchase, okay? It was such a cheap purchase. The Bolonitas mining facility produces around 2 million silver equivalent ounces per year. And at current silver prices, this will be a money-making machine, okay? This will be a money printer. Therefore, even before they bought Bolonitas, which happened when we were around here, I think, even before they bought Bolonitas, they were undervalued. And now they are undervalued immensely, even with the price pushing higher, even with the recent price rally in Guanajuato Silver. Nonetheless, I made a huge analysis video and chart analysis video about Guanajuato Silver. If you want to check it out, you can click right here in the top right corner. Otherwise, let's keep on going with the next mining company. Alright, so the next mining company is Silver One Resources. It's currently still a developer and explorer mining company, which is focused heavily on silver. I made a video about Silver One Resources a couple of weeks ago when the price was around 52 cents, and I told you, let's go on the daily chart. We were around here, okay? And I told you, if we see retest of the mid-level, if I was invested yet, no financial advice, I would enter this because it's gonna rip higher. Fundamentally wise, supported by the fundamentals, supported by the silver price rally, and supported by the charts, okay? And what happened? We went to our recent range highs at around 0.94 Canadian dollars. We are currently at a range high, and I think in one of my other videos where I included Silver One Resources as well, by the way, you can check out the first video about them right here in the top right corner. And I think in one of my last videos, I was talking about hitting this range high, see a correction, because this is a high we have never seen since February 2021. So we haven't seen this high for 5 years already. So there will be some selling. And afterwards, after this correction has happened, there is a high potential that we will flip it really quick without a big correction, flip it really quick and go higher. And I also said that buying right now at around, it was around 75 Canadian dollars cents, I think. You can do it. It's high risk since it's already rallied, but it's still a nice chance to make 3x or more. Therefore, Silver One Resources is, in my opinion, still a good bet. If you do your own research and if you're convinced that this is a nice play, then you can wait for the push higher, retest of this range high, and enter at this range high retest. Basically the same as in Guanajuato Silver, okay? It's the same structure that we are seeing right now, but it's not yet broken out of the range high as far as Guanajuato Silver has done it. I expect us to go higher in the next couple of days and weeks if the price of silver can sustain its current level, or if the price of silver can go even higher. Where would I enter if we see a correction right now? I would enter at this support trend line, okay? It held since the lows of November 21st. I would enter right here. It also forms a nice horizontal support, but it's not that big, the support right here, okay? So you can enter right here with a little bit of money, DCA. Don't buy all at once. Buy a portion of your capital you want to invest down here. If it goes higher, great, you are already invested. You can rebuy at reclaim. So you bought here with a average entry down here, and if it goes higher, nice. But if it goes lower, okay, you're not desperate because you only bought a portion of your investment. You will buy another portion right here at around 0.65 Canadian dollars, or at this retest of this previous really important resistance trend line, okay? If we get a retest of this trend line, I think that it will get bought really quick. All right, so let's make it like this, go on the weekly chart. I think that it will get bought really quick, either like this, okay? Or we go even lower to this mid-level in confluence with this not that extreme uptrending diagonal support trend line, okay? If we hit this mid-level, I personally will buy again. I will buy even more of my current holdings if we hit this mid-level in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months, whatever. Let's go to the fundamental reason why I think that Silver One Resources can actually go even more than a 3x, which I previously mentioned in my last video from current prices, but maybe even up to 10x. Obviously from current prices it's a little bit more difficult, but from the mid-level or around 60 Canadian dollar cents, it's more likely to see a 10x, okay, up to 6 Canadian dollar cents. Why? Because Silver One Resources is still an explorer, developer, but their projects, their big project, for example the Calendaria project, is based in Nevada, USA. And as we all know, the US government wants domestic supply chains for critical minerals or critical metals, such as silver. Silver got added to the list recently in the last couple of months. And they are going to release their pre-feasibility study, the results of the pre-feasibility study, expected in summer this year. Maybe the beginning of Q3, maybe end of Q3. We don't know how much it will get delayed, but nonetheless, I think that this pre-feasibility study, first of all, will be pretty bullish. Second of all, it opens the gates for major mining companies to start MAing Silver One Resources, to buy the projects of Silver One Resources, and therefore, just based on the pre-feasibility study results, the price can go higher. And if a major buys the project, the Candelaria project, the price will go higher as well. Or if the major buys the entire company, okay? Therefore, I think Silver One Resources is a nice play for the next couple of years, the next year to 2 years, 3 years, however. And I think that 10x are really possible. Depends on what your entry price is, and it depends on how much volatility you can resist. Okay, guys, it will be volatile, it will be strongly up, it will be strongly down, 10% a day, 20% a day, whatever. But if you can resist the volatility, if you keep strong and you hold till the end, you will be happy that you made the investment decision. Obviously, do your own research first, no financial advice. Always do your own research, and afterwards you can come back to this video again, check out the chart analysis again in order to get some nice entry prices, and then you can start putting some limit orders or market orders, whatever. Alright guys, so that's for Silver One Resources. Maybe really quick, this pattern we are currently seeing on the monthly chart is a really bullish bottom forming pattern. It's a double bottom, and those tend to break out drastically. And how they break out, it's basically they get confirmed after we break the resistance, which is the current range high, and then we get a retest, and this is the breakout play. This is the price you normally enter on such price patterns, okay? So it perfectly fits with what I said before about Silver One resources. Alright guys, let's go to the third mining project company which has a 10x potential from current prices. And it's no other than Defiance Silver. I talked about this mining company recently in one of my last videos. I told you that since we have such a long accumulation phase, this will most likely break out to the upside, supported by the silver price. I mean, why should it go down? And what happened? It actually went up, currently plus 88%. I told you, if you're convinced that this is a nice play, that this is a good company, that you can enter, let's go on the daily chart, you can enter either right here at a retest of this black support resistance zone, line, whatever, okay, on the retest. I did it, I entered right here, and I bought another half, or I doubled my position, better said, I doubled my position at this retest, down here at around 0.31, 0.32 Canadian dollar, and we just went higher. Alright, so I almost made 2x within 2 weeks. This is insane right now. It's really insane. It's really bullish. Everything is really bullish. That's why I'm also a little bit cautious right now. I'm not buying currently. I rather sit tight, see my gains accelerate, and maybe take some profits along the way before I will buy the correction, or I see my gains go or reduce, but nonetheless I know that this will just be another retest before we go higher, before we have the big breakout on the silver mining companies. And that's why it's so important to actually understand the overall market, to understand the silver chart and to understand the silver mining companies relative to the silver price. That's why I made this quick chart analysis on the silver chart and on the silver mining companies compared to silver, so you have a better fundamental understanding, with a better thesis, a higher conviction on the next, it will happen eventually, obviously, on the next correction to the downside. So you won't panic and say, oh, I won't buy, and after the price goes higher, you will start buying right here instead of here, okay? All right, so it's just a tip, it's just my own personal experience, which I want to give to you. All right, therefore, Defiance Silver Corp, as I said, it's still an explorer developer with projects based in Mexico. Mexico is actually a really nice jurisdiction right now, with the government having a political shift in regards to permitting mines and so on. I mean, Silver Tiger just got the first permitting since I don't know how many years to actually build a mine. Even though it's going to be a small one, still, they just got permitted. So Mexico shows us that they are pro mining currently. So Defiance Silver, Guanajuato Silver, projects based on in Mexico. It's a nice jurisdiction to be in right now. Alright, so Defiance Silver, where would be my entry? If you didn't enter already, it's pretty tricky because we just had a breakout. But I have to tell you, since this is such a long sideways, this has been such a long sideways range, the breakout can go to the range highs before we go lower, or even keep going higher, okay? Maybe don't even see a big correction, okay? Don't see this, but reclaim the range high, maybe go sideways for a few weeks and then go higher. Nonetheless, if we see a correction either from here or from the range highs, buying at the mid-level would be a perfect entry based on the charts, okay? This has been resistance for multiple years right now. The mid-level, this black resistance line, whatever, it's almost the same zone, okay? And therefore, if we will see those prices again, you will see big buys coming in. It's just classic, or it's just basic chart analysis. It's just basic market behavior, honestly. Alright, where would be my price target for Defiance Silver? If we enter at this mid-level, $3.40 45 cents would be a 10x already. And this would bring Defiance Silver to a market cap round about $1 billion. And if the drill results in the coming months, this year, next year, are good or even surprisingly good, then I think that this can actually happen with the jurisdiction which is currently permitting friendly, mining friendly. I think that major players will catch an eye on Defiance Silver and could be paying a nice amount of money for the project, for the company, in order to mine on their project. Alright, so let's go to my last mining company, which has a really nice chance right now, which is still really undervalued as a junior miner. So the last mining company is SilverX Mining, and SilverX Mining is a junior producer. Last I've checked the fundamentals, they were mining around 1 million silver equivalent per year, but they plan to mine up to 6 million silver equivalent in the coming years, which could also reduce their AISC, so they're all in substantial costs. The costs to mine an ounce of silver, which are currently, at least my last data, which when I made my research on SilverX, has been an AISC of $30 to $33 per ounce of silver. So they are making a profit of around $110 minus $30. So they are making a profit of around $80 per silver equivalent ounce they get out of the ground, which is absurdly high with a current market cap of only 370 million Canadian dollars. I think they are heavily undervalued, even after we had a pump of 43% in the current month and a pump of 80% in the last month, and so on. I was checking them out down here, hence you can see this trend line and those support zones, but I didn't buy. This was a big mistake. I mean, as you can see, mistakes can happen even if you're into investing, chart analysis and so on for over several years. Mistakes can happen, but it's not a big mistake because I didn't lose money. I just didn't make money on SilverX so far, but I invested more into Guanajuato Silver, for example, which also went parabolic. So it's just opportunity costs, honestly. And SilverX Mining, even though we had a pump from those levels of over 250% to the local high, I still think that even at current prices, they are heavily undervalued based on the fundamentals. And therefore, let's check out where the price entry levels would be for me if I'm convinced that this stock will go higher, which I obviously am, as I already said, but for you, if you're convinced after you did your own research. Alright, so we also have a range high and a range low. Let's draw it like this, alright, and we got our mid-level. And as you can see, the mid-level was the first level since the rally higher, where we saw a red, in my case, since my bars are white and black, since we saw the first red, or in this case black, candle to the downside. The first correction of over 12%. But going on the daily, we reclaimed it and went straight higher, which can also happen on Silver One Resources or Defiance Silver after we break through this range high, which I showed you a few minutes ago. You can just go back and watch it again so you understand what I'm talking about. This happened to SilverX Mining. This can actually happen to Silver One Resources and Defiance Silver before they go higher. Nonetheless, in my opinion, this can go to all-time highs in the coming weeks with the silver price accelerating and so on, with the markets getting hot or even hotter and hotter. They are already hot. And after we see this range high, you will have to watch closely if we get a reclaim of the range high, which would give us an entry on the range high, which isn't that fortunate in my opinion, because we will need to buy higher. Then if we see a deviation above, retest from the underside and go lower, and then we can buy on the correction lower at prices well below $2, okay, $1.50, $1.30, maybe even the mid-level. So the mid-level would be my perfect entry scenario in the coming of in the coming months if we see such a correction, which I just have drawn. Okay, this mid level at $1.10 Canadian dollar cents. This would be a dream entry because I'm convinced that this stock will go higher. Therefore, do your own research, fundamental research, do your own chart analysis, just try it. And then you can decide for yourself if you want to buy SilverX Mining. If we buy right now at $1.55, we need to go to 15 Canadian dollars, 15 Canadian dollars and 50 cents in order to make a 10x, which would bring us to a market cap of $3.7 billion if there won't be any more dilution, okay, of the stocks. And I actually think that this is maybe a little bit overvalued. $3.7 billion market cap, Canadian dollar market cap. But obviously in a bull run, things run hot and things tend to swing from undervalued, such as the silver miners have been for several years, to overvalued. And when the miners are overvalued, it's time to sell. Don't worry, I hope I will be there to make videos for you, to tell you when I'm going to sell my mining stocks and where I'm going to park my profits in, because as we all know, fiat currencies, they are burning your pockets since they are highly inflationary, especially in the last couple of years, and I think that it won't get better. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it if you leave a comment about your current favorite mining stocks. Which stocks are you currently still buying even though we are rallying higher and higher? Which stocks are still cheap in your opinion? And if you liked the video, if it was helpful for your investment decisions, I would really appreciate it if you leave a follow for our small and growing channel. Goodbye guys, have a nice day.